Spoiler alert. This video contains spoilers about Rick and Morty Season 3, Episode 1. The latest episode of Rick and Morty really caught my surprise. Not because of how Rick broke out of prison or took down the entire galactic government, and the pocket universe with Ricks inside. I mean, we knew it was going to happen eventually. Well, not the part about taking down all the Ricks. The part that really surprised me was how this show effortlessly made me learn a valuable lesson without teaching me much of anything at all. I'll explain what I mean by that, but try to bear with me in some parts. At the end of Season 2, we learned the effect that Rick has on his family is detrimental, and the fact that they all realize it as well. Stranded on another planet, unable to ever go home again, all for the sake of Rick. They've accepted that things will always be bad when Rick is around, but they've decided to continue to stick by him through this tragedy. Beth herself has lived without Rick for a very long time, but once he came back, the impact on her life has been nothing but negative. It's not like they're ignoring this truth or anything. They simply put up with it because they can't stand the thought of losing him again. It's an incredible thought to behold, because we see the same things happening in the issues around us, because this is very clearly an abusive relationship. Even more obviously, Rick is always drunk, which makes the thought of Rick being an abuser that much more close to home. The viewer is clued in on the fact that Rick is a dangerous man whose antics end up destroying him from the inside out, and we, the viewer, are placed in the same position that everyone in an abusive relationship has in the back of their head. That one day, perhaps hopefully, he will change. That there's a good guy deep down and the problems are just a temporary fix, and he'll somehow snap out of his abusive tendencies and be the loving person we know he is deep down. I especially felt this way at the end of the episode where Rick is explaining to Morty the main reason why he did everything. Instead of seeing this as true or hating or disliking Rick to some capacity for being the heartless jerk he's displaying, I've effectively brushed this aside thinking he's not actually being honest, that maybe he'll change and he's just putting up a front. I'm going along with putting up with the abuse so that hopefully later on down the line he'll realize that he's doing something wrong and take charge. Change and become a different person. Abuse is a very serious topic and not very relatable to people who haven't experienced it themselves. The first thought that always comes to mind is, well, why don't they just leave if it causes that much pain to be together? And if it were that simple, abuse wouldn't be that big of an issue as it already is. The relationship that is formed with Rick as the viewer, when painting him as a dad and a grandfather, makes him seem deep down that he's a good guy, who needs the right conditions to change. But regardless of whether or not that's true, he's got us in our grasp, along with his family. He'll continue to do reckless things hurting his family, and they'll continue to love him because sometimes enough just isn't enough. Sometimes you can't say no. And in an abusive relationship, until you can see the bad clearly, the good will always be a glimmering shine of hope that will lure you like a fish hook every time.